Hey everyone, Michael back at you here on the Archangel 15. Welcome back to the Secret Doctrine book review part 3. Not exactly sure how many we're going to end up with. I'm almost on to anthropogenesis. I want to finish here with this presentation on the cosmogenesis. Please stay with me. If please watch the previous two videos that I did. You're not going to understand any of this at all. You must watch part 2, but 1 and 2, the sequential order. Okay, so moving along here, I mentioned, like I said, she emphatically mentions the Watchers, and I had quoted something, like I said, in the end of the last presentation about that. And I said, like, just know that there's too much to list, and like I could read the whole book here, and like I said, like that's really what you would need to give it justice. I mean, please, if you're interested in this, I encourage you to read it for yourself. But she says, okay, owning the circumstances still known, uh, unknown karmic provisions that appear from time to time, great thinkers who, devoting their lives to a single purpose, are able to anticipate the progress of mankind and to produce a religion or a philosophy by which important effects are eventually brought about. But if we look into history, we shall clearly see that although the origin of a new opinion may be thus due to a single man, the results which the new opinion produces will depend on the condition of the people among whom it is propagated. So very, very, very interesting there. Uh, my favorite part of the whole entire book is right here. Like, I fell in love with her after this. I've been saying, like I mentioned, the third temple. Apparently, there, like I said, there really was only two temples, or like the third temple of the future one. There was only one, apparently. And like she mentioned, like I've been saying, like emphatically myself, that like there's something about Solomon that just seems really fishy, like really like almost like pie in the sky. And like I said, the Freemasons are really, really big on this whole thing with Solomon. And like she says, it was like a hoax, like it didn't really exist, like it was like a confabulation or something like that. She said, on these data, the later Jewish high priests constructed the allegory of Solomon's temple, a building which never had real existence any more than King Solomon himself had. And like I said, like I truly, truly concur with this 100%. Like I have like a deep spiritual connection to almost every single important luminary in the Bible, but Solomon does nothing for me. And like it was like there's certain elements about like the modern day Israel that, like, from what I've gathered, were invented to basically, like, and like I said, you understand it deeper. It's like the Joker bank heist scene in The Dark Knight. If you don't know, please watch that. If you haven't ever saw it, you can look at like just it's the intro to The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger, amazing work. He I think won an Oscar for it. And like okay, so there's this bank robbery scene with all these people involved, and at the end, like this person kills that person kills this person, and so on. And there's like, well, he's left at the end. And he takes all the money, and it's like that's like I said, like the Jews are gonna kill the Christians are gonna kill the Muslims, and like I said, and it's like all this dirty stuff happens in the Middle East, and it's like designed to create current in our world. So we have like the war machine, so we have news feeds, and like if we didn't have this current, we'd have like a stagnant cesspool of sorts. And like I really believe that, like, and like I've heard like a lot of stuff uh like was invented by like I think Ben Gurion. Like there's other people like that played a big part in it. It was like in the early 1900s and like late 1800s that like they like really pushed this whole state of Israel. And like I said, a lot of it's BS. And, like the emergence of the Zionists came right out of it. Follow, like Gunderson said, follow the money to the lies always. These people print the money and the lies. She mentions the Aztecs. She loved, like, had a like amazing love for the Aztecs in the Mexican region. Like she was interested in a lot of places all around the world. She mentions the 42nd parallel being a very important area. I learned a new word, the firmament, which is like another word for like the sky or heaven. Firmament, really, really important word. She connects terrestrials with egg, the aether, and microbiology in the heavens, like all of it together. Like I said, we're still in cosmogenesis here. It's like a sexual nature of the cosmos. I mentioned before that like a lot of people believe that the constellations were formed by jealous goddesses, and like I have yet to really find a better explanation myself. It really makes a lot of sense, and much written about the Messiah. She talks all the time, as much about Michael the Archangel as about the Messiah. and she mentions this embul, and it's like a word that applies directly to the Messiah, and it means water. Embul, M-B-U-L. Okay, so then we're in the 403 here, I think. So she mentions serpent and crocodile worship, and like really, really interesting there. Like I said, just really, like you start getting into the reptilians and like crocodiles. Like I said, it's pretty interesting, and like evolution and other things. And I believe this 100%. And like the crocodile is a sacred symbol. So here. Okay, so the crocodile is the Egyptian dragon, she says. It was a dual symbol of heaven and earth, of sun and moon, and was made sacred in consequence of the ambitious nature to Osiris and Isis. And according to the Eusebius, the Egyptians represented the sun in a ship as the pilot, this ship being carried along by a crocodile to show the motion of the sun in the moist space. 410 on the page here. Okay, so and this, the true and perfect serpent, is the seven-lettered God who is now credited with being Jehovah and Jesus, one with him. To seven-vowed God, candidate for initiation is sent by Christos in the Pistis Sophia, a work earlier than St. John's Revelation, and evidently of the same school. The serpent, the seven thunders, uttered these seven vows, but seal up those things which the seven thunders uttered, and write them not, says Revelation. And okay, if they're like the stuff about Solomon, I disagree with, and the stuff about Revelation, like a lot of it I love, but there's two, like I said, there's John the apostle, and there's John the Revelator, and like I said, there's certain things that I always think that they had to seal up in mystery to basically their faith, like I said, wouldn't have its true meaning if they didn't. So she talks about seven fires, and I did a presentation a while back. There's like this huge mystery in various churches of theological study, like they to this day still don't even really agree with it, about the meaning of the seven candles or seven fires. They like represent like planetary, they represent Kabbalic meaning, they are the archangels. I did my presentation on it. It says in India, it was a mystery of the seven fires and their 49 fires or aspects of the members thereof, just the same. These seven vows are represented by the swastika, signs of the crowns of the seven heads of the serpent eternity. In India, among the esoteric Buddhists, in Egypt, in Chaldea, and among blah, 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 so forth. Book takes on, like I said, it takes turns, and it talks about temptation and the Lord's Prayer, and Jesus spoke, lead us not. Talks about Cain. Like I said, there's like certain reoccurring themes that go deeper than just the storyline of the Bible, like Cain and Abel, like good, bad, like dark, like light and dark, like light and darkness, Osiris and Typhon, and Ormazad and Antrophon men, like all like basically there were other Cain and Abels, and like other stories that are similar. Like it's like it just repeats itself over. It's like a reoccurring book that God likes. And okay, so I love the thing about the Solomon being a fraud, and then later on she talks about the Freemasons and Solomon. Like that's what the book ends it at. So stay with me. Like I said, we still have a little ways to go here. Please stay with me. I know you're probably getting to saying screw this by now. I'm done. I have better things to do with my time. I don't blame you. So she talks page 518 about the law of conservation energy. She says the law of conservation of energy and thus is shown to be illegitimate in its pretentious claims in the case of the great dogma, the force without matter, and several other things. Basically, like if you want to debunk the law of conservation of energy, which is taught at like MIT and like all around the world, like $100,000 a year engineering universities still teach it, and magnets. Magnets create an eternal current, like I said, and like the energy you have to put into them, like I said, it surpasses it, like I said, with itself. It's an eternal field of current. And it's like that right there just debunks it. I could go on and on. I'm not going to get too deep into the physics stuff. I have other stuff that I've pounded the table on about in the past. But the fact that she was against that, I love her. I love this woman. Okay, so then she talks about the caudasis. I actually do like the best job of anybody. I actually, in my Theory of Everything presentation series, I'm not sure which video. It's an 11-hour series, but I do like a whole discussion on the true meaning of the caudasis. Like 1 through the center is hydrogen. Then you have 8. Okay, so like 8. Number 1 element is hydrogen. Number 8 is oxygen. Together you get water, and then you get the building blocks of life, and it goes on and on through wave theory, and like basically then gives birth to like the rest of the periodic table, and like there's much deeper symbology with it. Like there's interpretations. Some of it's like incestuous. Some of it's like the bloodline of David and the bloodline of Abraham, and the pineal gland is the chakras of the body, Kabbalic by nature. Nobody does a better job than me. 8. You see in there octaves, like our musical scale based on octaves. Symbol for 8, eternity, the new day, rebirth. Like I said, she mentions the periodic table. Really gets deep into that aspect of science, and she does a damn good job. I mean, better than anybody else I know, putting everything together. Like you can see why a whole train of religious study was founded around her, and she goes deep into quantum physics. Basically, like I said, the light energy, sound, and vibration are all contemporaries of each other and diametrically opposed forces of good and evil. I mentioned a quote about electricity in the past presentations. But like I said, free will is the big theme of this whole thing. And then she mentions the monad. She says soul, monad, soul, the Diane Kronik, or something like Diane Cronin's. It's like the perception of choice and logic of good and evil. It's like think Buddhism, and like think not worldly stuff. Like we're trained like from birth to like basically be like emphatically in love with just material things, like the here, the now, the present. What we have, what we want to work for, and that's why we have to get up in the morning. Think deeper than that. Like you got up in the morning, you didn't have to pay your bills. You had your garden, and like you get in a kayak and think like just like, the best way to explain it is kayak. Like, so the monad is like the perception or of choice and logic of good and evil, and like basically implied together. So like I said, you go one way, like it's like the axiom of causality. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. I choose something bad, then like I said, something else bad's going to happen. I choose something good is likely to happen. And like you live your life by this universal karmic code, and it gets into this monad, and it's like the soul as you know it, like your soul. It's like your true soul, like not like reincarnated soul, but it's like your own being, your own self. But she mentions those two words probably more than any other in the whole book: the Diane Cronin and the monad. It's like the singular. After reading her work, it is evident that she is, like I said, of alien origin. I would almost guarantee she was from the ABRH negative bloodline. I mentioned the Helena Petrovna is like a Russian mafia name. She's a master with how she writes. She keeps the carrot dangling in front of you just enough to demand your attention, and she gives you little secrets. Like after your dedication is proven, I mean, you could just say, "Screw this, I'm not reading this anymore." But after you tread through the difficult subject matter, she gives you like a little bit more. And it's not like she's teasing you. It's like she demands your respect and she demands your attention. And I like that about her. And like I really don't find that too much with other people. And like I said, when you least expect it, she hits you with something. You just love her. Like I said, she'll hit you with something amazing. The level of respect I give her, like I said, I love how she mentions the archangels. I think she had like a secret love affair with Michael. I mentioned that like during this book, I had like another near-death experience, and I went into shock. And I almost believe, like I said, like reading this, she repossesses your soul, like no BS. And like I said, she laid the foundation for so many other people. I almost imagine that Karl Marx's quote she would have been a fan of, or like he was inspired by it, or there was a connection there. Religion is the opium of the masses, and it's like almost like that's what like kind of like she pushes this notion as that like when you understand a broader emphasis that like religions were like okay, like go back to a time like in like before we had cathedrals and everything else, when people were just worried about hunting and gathering food and keeping warm. There wasn't like they realized that religion was an amazing way to control people, make them scared, and B, an amazing way to amass empires. And like it's not even debated. Hence, you have the Roman Catholic Church, and there's, like I said, a much bigger emphasis on time, science, and angels. And she was not a fan of the Roman Catholic Church. I can almost like guarantee you that, undeniably. It's not even debated. And she said, we feel it is the effects of those intelligences which are the result of the primeval differentiation. Okay, so we feel its effects. Okay, so I said that matter which is truly homogeneous is beyond human perceptions. If perception is tied down merely to the five senses, we feel its effects through those intelligences which are the results of its primeval differentiation, whom we name the Diane Chronans. It's like I said, this ability to discern. Like I said, like it connects the monad, like this perception, and then the actual ability to discern is the Diane Chronans. Like biggest, like one of the probably the most important page in the book, to be honest with you. And like I said, she actually questions the periodic table in existence, and like I've actually done this as well. Like there's certain things that just don't make any sense in the periodic table of elements. To be really honest with you, like I'm just like one element turns into another one. You have like radioisotopes, other things there's just a lot. Like it's really obvious that it's a lot more than like what we're supposed to really understand. And get into wave theory and electromagnetic spectrum. And like I said, like the whole concept of alchemy is like that's what it's based on. It's like the first alchemists were like concentrated on turning lead or other base metals into gold, and it really is plausible and possible. And like certain people are like alien origin and have certain bloodlines have the ability to like manifest things, what would have you. I'm going to stop here. This is the end of the Secret Doctrine book review for Cosmogenesis. Now we start with Anthropogenesis. Probably have 2 or 3 videos for this. So we're done with Cosmogenesis. Now we move on to Anthropogenesis. I'm going to stop this here and start a new fresh video for that. If you're still with me, I sincerely thank you. Please hold out. I have some really amazing stuff in the next book. Stay with me. Take care.